Debbie was taking care of all of us. We had a heck of a time the last couple of years, but we are back and we are so excited and we're so thankful for all the people that really took good care of us. We have a lot of people to thank, so I won't try to do that. I won't try to, but you guys know who you are, and I'm really thankful for your thoughts and your prayers. I'm going to just, for some of you who don't remember who we are, I'm just going to tell you, we are a functional medicine firm that is very innovative in our work, especially around something called optogenetic activation, meaning red light therapies or light therapies. We've mainly worked with difficult cases around the world, 45 different states, 22 different countries. And in that process, we treated at first nothing but autism. Then we figured out that over time, that MS, Parkinson's, autism, all of that was very part of a growing issue called neuroimmune dysfunction. So we set out to see what we could do with all of that and how exciting it got, because probably in 2012, we started talking about lymphatic drainage. The University of Virginia said, wow, that there is something called lymphatic drainage. We talked about biophotomodulation, and right now, biophotomodulation is the thing. We are still recovering. We will be completely open by March the 1st. And we wanted to come back and just share with you what has happened and where we're going. So this is what happened to me a little bit earlier this year or 2 years ago. I went through a surgery. It's not a great picture, but I think sometimes it is really important to share what went on in life. I don't know if many of you have noticed, but I think in those 3 years, the world has actually changed. And so the world has changed, and so have we. And so we no longer really want to talk about photoactivation. I'm sorry, about whether or not a vitamin B or a certain food is irritating as the primary thing. We're not just nutritionists. We're people who treat complex issues, and most of you who work with us know what your complex issues are. I was so blessed by people who wrote letters to me. Just yesterday, I had a juvenile arthritis patient come in who we resolved her juvenile arthritis 15 years ago, came in just to hug me. I have an autistic, nonverbal 5-year-old who is now in at 4.024 and full boat scholarship at Seton Hall. We have Ash out in the Midwest somewhere who basically started with a testicular kind of cancer, and here 15 years later, he is still having the time of his life. So all of those are great blessings. We are excited to have participated in it, but our situation got worse, and so we had to shut down a couple of years ago. And so here's part of the story. Here's what happened. So I basically fell down a step and re-injured a broken neck that I had 30 years ago. That brought us to you. The second thing that happened is we're not really sure what happened, but most of you know that things like COVID and stuff like that got really complicated. So my situation got profoundly complicated. And I ended up in bed for over a year and I couldn't walk. And so I had 13 diagnoses. If you can imagine that, I had 13 diagnoses, and the only answer to the diagnosis, well, what do you expect? Antibiotics and steroids. So guess what? You know, that wonderful woman that I'm married to that most of you know, Debbie, said something like, well, Mike, if you are the guy who everybody brings the most difficult cases to, how come you aren't treating yourself? And so I decided to treat myself. And about 8 months ago, we put our entire office, all that 20 years of research that we did, we put it all to work. And guess what? Mike started walking. Here's Mike kind of coming down through, even though he doesn't look like a happy guy, there he is finally walking. And I really like those shoes, Mike. So look at that poor messy guy, but I finally got to walk. Oh, okay. Where is it? We got to share our screen here real quick. There we go. Well, I'm glad you didn't get to see all those terrible pictures, but Mike finally got to walk again. So about 6 months ago, started walking again, even though I don't look like a very happy guy. But here's what happened to me. If none of you have noticed, the world has changed. And I had that surgery. My life changed definitely in a crazy kind of way. And even though I'm now recovering, and it's been an amazing trip because I used all of the work that we've been doing, including biophotomodulation and that sort of stuff. One of the things we're famous for over the past number of years is this instrument here called quantum bioinfusion technology. We now call it the Spark, which is it's basically a spark of life and light that we use. And we developed that over a decade. Is there something wrong? Huh? Well, stop sharing. No, it says sharing. Okay, you are sharing your screen. There we go. So this is called the Qubit 300 that we developed starting about a decade ago. It uses frequency-specific microcurrents, red light therapy, and all in an enclosed chamber, a single point activation resonant chamber. So this is how Mike started his process of getting back into life. And so again, here are some of the pictures of how we developed it. Here are some folks that we used it on and developed it. So we put red light therapy in it. When you go in and look at biophotomodulation of the brain, and a guy named Mike Hamlin and Margaret Nazer, we studied with them in 2006 and 7 and 8, trying to help the autistic kids. So what we're trying to do here is to activate the brain, because all of you, we call it now neuroimmune dysfunction syndrome. And what is happening is, with all of this going on, that the brain seems to be under attack from all angles, from psychologically, physically, from having COVID, from not having COVID, from having shots to not having shots. It doesn't matter. It seems like everybody's in kind of a fix. So one of the ways to restart life is to recalibrate the brain, and that's what we're focusing on. And that's what I focused on to get out of my issues as well. So one of the things that we do very nicely is that, plus we have home equipment that we're using, that I used, that I put this together and developed. Blue light therapy, we're using this in a brain cancer right now. We're using curcumin with blue light therapy. And so the whole thing is about activating the systems. The systems have had a lot of challenges over and over, and we need to return. So what we're trying to bring back to you is a program. Here's what I want to say. The world has changed, and so have we. We're so interested in the way that we want to deliver the new home clinic to you. We want you to be self-responsible, having to be self-care, because in this new world, we have to no longer talk about every little food, every little thing, but we need to talk about how to have rugged immunity, a clear mind, and an awakened spirit. So that's what we're excited by, and that's our programming that we're coming up with. And so I did a series of things over the last 6 months. It started with red light therapy. It happened, all of you know that we've been great brain nutritionists for the past 20 years. So I did a lot of acetylcholines and NAD and red light therapy, methylene blue. And the final story is 6 months ago, I started walking after not walking for a year. I don't know how a 70-year-old guy that's had 2 failed neck surgeries actually ever gets to walk again, but we learned how to do it. And so we reprogrammed, and we got really back in the game, and we're trying to share that at an economic process that makes it something good for you as well. That's what we've been put on earth for, is to basically share what we come here to learn. So we are delighted to talk about that tonight. So along with the red light therapy, one of the things that happened to me, one of the great things that happened to me during the red light therapy, guys, was I had red light therapy. I had homeopathy, which we now call nanodosing. We had a homeopathy. We had great nutrition. And then one of my friends from Dallas, Texas, ran into somebody named Lawrence Crockett III. And he told me, he said, you got to look at this. What do we got? We got to look at this. He said, let's take a good look at what Lawrence is doing with peptides. Now, I don't know if any of you have remember, but I basically had a not a doctorate, but a diplomat in what is called peptide therapy. I was a member of the International Peptide Society, and we had probably peptide programs to repair the brain, and as time went by, the government saw fit to restudy it and re-regulate it, especially because some of the people in the peptide business weren't necessarily honorable. And so we came into the peptide business because of the need for autism, MS, Parkinson's, Crohn's, and migraine headaches. Those are the kind of people that we treat. So the exciting part was in peptide therapy that it worked. The bad news was it was too expensive, and it became kind of distracted, a lot of jumbo going, legal mumbo jumbo going on. So we wanted to find a way. So my friend said, you got to look at this, and we did. And son of a gun, it really started rebuilding. I took peptides, and we're going to introduce you to Lawrence Crockett III, who he calls himself the peptide guru, who's been making natural peptides for the past 20 years. So, and it has lived what he calls the peptide life. How it affected my life was it started rebuilding my muscles, and all of a sudden, I graduated from home therapy. If you can imagine having somebody in your home 4 days a week trying to teach you how to walk again after 20, I saw 10,000 people from 45 different states and 22 different countries. And there I am, my wife's taking care of me, and I'm in bed for almost a year, could barely do anything. And then as the red light therapy, the Viatrix homeopathics, the great nutrition from many of my friends in the nutrition business, we were able to patch my pain back together again. So Humpty Dumpty is back. And what he was really happy about is that Lawrenceston made me compete. Lawrenceston is, what are you, a trainer? Is that what I heard?
I'm a biomechanics specialist.
Biomechanics. So Lawrenceston made, I still have at age 70, a lot of competition left in my bones. And so he's out there doing all these reps. So once I could get past 1 pound, I went up to 2 pounds. And now I'm throwing around a 10-pound Sperry ball doing 400 reps a day. And one that you would like the best is, all of you know where Wegmans is. I don't go inside. I get the big basket at Wegmans, and I walk the parking lot.
Well, that's the Peptide Life.
Yeah. So I went around, and so I live in the Peptide Life. I got the big buggy therapy going on. I'm doing the reps. The good news is I've got a 4-pack going on. The bad news is I still have a fat tire, case of fat tire around the middle. But I'm working out. We're coming back. We're thinking clearly. And our main theme is how to activate the body away from what's going on in this world right now. Now, you can talk about all that if any of you have questions. We're not going to make political statements or anything like that, but we all know that the world has changed. And the 3 things that we have to do is have rugged immunity, we have to have a clear mind, and we have to have an awakened spirit. And it's always, and the bad news is it'll probably always cost money. It's harder than you think to get better. It was harder. It took me a whole year, and I had to stay focused. So one of the things that helped me along the way was Genostem Peptide. And so we have made an agreement to make Lawrenceston and I have. So Lawrenceston, I want to bring you on now and I want to talk about peptides. I want to slow it down really good because a lot of my folks have neurological issues sometimes that doesn't process well. And
Well,
so
we're going to try to help that.
so excited about having our new partnership with you.
Fantastic. Yeah, Michael. So, I guess everybody hears the word peptide all the time. And, the Russians were making some things and the Chinese were making some things. We're an American ingestible peptide. We've been doing this for 20 years. I actually left the Franciscans to follow this path when I lost one of my little Cocker Spaniel, Joe Cocker, to skin cancer due to spaying and neutering. It breaks the endocrine loop. Anyway, so we heard about the word peptide and it's everywhere, but a lot of people don't know what a peptide is. And number two, where does it come from? So the word peptide comes from the Greek word peptos. Peptos means digested. So we're making peptides all the time. And why is that so important is the average human being has 37.2 trillion cells in the body. And every cell in your body has a peptide. And it communicates through peptide bonds through amino acids. And this is why it's so important. The human body has 40 peptide hormones. Human growth hormone is a peptide hormone. Endorphins are a peptide hormone. Estrogen, proestrogen, and the beat goes on. So peptides really are the life of the body. Now, we work with the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenaline axis. And you and I both know, and everybody, all these people on here tonight, you're all healers. But, this is the life force of the body that produces hormones and communication through the cells. So this is what we've been able to do is create an ingestible peptide that is at 5,000 Daltons. And it's just amazing.
We'll slow you down there, but a lot of my folks won't know what that 5,000 Dalton is. That's pretty.
It's just the atomic weight. It's the atomic
I know,
weight.
But it's really small, isn't it? It's really, very
so small
you can get into the system.
Well, it is. And for the ladies out there, just to show you what we can do with these peptides, we're about to do this. If you're using hyaluronic acid, these peptides, I'm so sorry you can't see it very well. We're able to put these peptides actually in any beauty product that you have. And so they can sit through here or through the ingestible. And so, I've been doing Fox Radio and TV as their pet health and longevity contributor, oh my gosh, for over 10 years. And so we've been working with animals, and animals don't know placebo effects. So we've been working with pets from here all the way to Hong Kong for 20 years. And then we work with the SEAL teams, and we work with just guys and gals, type 2 diabetics. These, insulin is a peptide. I mean, we could go on and on and on. So when it comes to supplementation, it comes back to, we must think about peptides. Now, here's something I want everybody to think about. A lot of people don't understand this, so if the word peptide means digested, isn't it funny that when our digestive system starts slowing down as we get older, so do our hormone production, and we start aging faster with more disease. So what we're doing is we're supplementing every day with peptides. Now, peptides have 0 side effects with or without medication, 0 side effects, but it actually does go cell to cell communication. When people say cell to cell, they can't really say that unless it is a peptide. And so this is what we're doing. So these peptides have been in my blood for 20 years. And like I said, I'll be turning 64 in 60 days. And my beautiful little son was born 3 months ago. And my other 11-and-a-half-year-old, I just got in from playing with him. So again, we've proven that you can increase the lifespan by using peptides between 10 and 30% by just peptides every day. So that's what we call living the peptide life: natural energy, brain function through neural growth factors, connective tissue growth factors of peptide, ligament, strength.
I'd like to slow you down right there because this is really important to my crowd. Now, here's what's going on in my crowd. The people that I talk to typically have systemic inflammation. A lot of times they have sugar processing issues. It's called the pentose pathway. A lot of times they have broken hormone systems. A lot of times they have systemic inflammation that has led to brain dysfunction. They have immune dysfunction. So when they have Lyme, when they have MS, when they have Parkinson's, we have significant issues in this community. One of the things you and I got together and made this product a really good product for that market as well. Even though you've been out there, you've been in the gym market, you've been in the athletic performance market, you've been in the
We're not really there. We've been more of an anti-aging longevity product. I
Right.
didn't really enter into that.
Right. And so when we got together, we found out that that there's some things in this community that we needed to focus on. But let's talk about how a peptide life, a clean peptide, will help restore brain function, immune function, and we've already somewhat addressed the metabolic function. So it helps us
Well,
process sugars. It helps us process our hormones. It rebuilds the nervous system and the immune system. How does it do that?
well, and on the blood sugars, improving insulin sensitivity, reducing inflammation, stimulating insulin release, suppressing appetite. I mean, you're going to people actually lose weight on this product in a good way, but we put on lean muscle mass naturally because you have insulin growth factor 1 and 2. That's the holy grail of putting on lean muscle mass. Now, there's a bunch of products out there with deer antler velvet in it, and that's the biggest scam in the world. IGF-1 does not come for that. And here's the thing you have to think about too. You don't want anything synthetic with an IGF. You want something totally naturally occurring. And this is what we've been able to do is all of our growth factors are naturally occurring. So neural growth factors, it helps the synapses of the brain fire more effectively. Your brain cognitive comes back. You start sleeping better also. We're able to start quieting that brain down, but it's actually, you're able to start thinking again, where you might have had, Michael, what do they call it? When your brain fog. I just had brain fog right now. I'm sorry, I never think about brain fog. It's just somebody used that term the other day. I went, brain fog, really? Okay, I'll try to use that. But so neural growth factors, connective tissue growth factors, fibroblast growth factors. Michael, you know how important that is, cell-to-cell communication throughout the whole body. So
let me slow that down just a little bit, because that's what we are about. What we did, we started with autism. And as we started with autism, we started seeing this disconnection of signaling, especially in the brain, where the lower part of the brain had inflammation. The inflammation in the brain just slowed down the connectivity. Brain damage causes problems with connectivity. And so what peptides are, and the reason I've chosen it as a foundational molecule to restart our third half of life here, is because it's a foundational molecule that rebuilds connectivity between all of these systems, but especially in the brain. And so tell me a little more about neurotropic 3, neurotropic 4, brain-derived neurotrophic factors. The fibroblastic growth factors help rebuild tissue in the brain.
absolutely, and cell-to-cell communication. It's all about cell communication, and that's what the fibroblastic growth factor between 1 and 20 actually do. And so we have that going on. So you have to, it's so you say, how can you do everything? Well, we have to get back to the beginning of life. Even fertility starts with peptides. So, with that, and you understand that every cell, every function in the body is stimulated and signaled by a peptide. So this is why we need to be actually increasing our naturally occurring peptides. The Russians and the Chinese came out with the injectables, and sometimes you have to take it 5 times a day. I haven't had any issues. Now, if you do have a specific health issue that we need that one specific growth factor, that's fine. That's fantastic. That's between the other healers. What I say is with the foundational peptide, which works with all aspects of the body, I don't think we're going to have so many problems that we would with not taking the peptide.
Well, occasionally what we do is we take the foundational peptide, and then we add, for somebody who might have a super digestive issue, we might add BPC 157.
Sure.
For some people, we might add thymosin A and B, thymosin A and B.
But if we have the foundational peptide, Michael, if we have the foundational peptide first, we need to get the body up to a level where we actually know where the homeostasis is, and then think about treating with everything else. But first, we have to bring the endocrine system back into homeostasis at optimal, what we call youthful levels. And just recently, I had a physical rep for the baby was born. My PSA, let's take we're talking about our PSA. For me to be normal, you have to be between 1 and 4. Mine was 1.070. My testosterone level was 715, naturally just using peptides. So it shows that my whole body and your whole body can be in homeostasis and working at optimal or youthful levels again. So this is why Michael has called this the foundational supplement or peptide. So first of all, we have to get that to know where our markers are, and then we can go from there. Michael, do you agree?
I agree. It solves about 80% of the underlying issues. And then because we have
Yeah.
20 years of experience in functional medicine, homeopathy, and herbalism, we can add the kickers to it. So once we reset the foundation, and here's why, listen to this word. What most of us have is not an endocrine problem. Here's what I found out when I got so sick this year. I found out I had 5 different specialists telling me all the same thing. I had Justin Bieber's disease. I had a drooped eye. I had burned skin. I couldn't walk. I couldn't swallow. I lost 60 pounds. So everybody had one solution: steroid and an antibiotic. And nobody reset the foundational part of my life. And so I just looked, and I fired all 5 of them at the same time. I kept a good physical therapist, I kept a good chiropractor, and I kept a good surgeon. And so I went in and basically said, let's build the foundational part of life over again. And that's
and Michael, right now everybody's worried. Right now there's colds going on, and we just got through COVID and everything. And what people don't talk about, and they're trying to make a vaccine with it, but we already have it, is something called an antimicrobial or just host defense peptides. And right now everyone has it on your face, and a host defense peptide is the most broad spectrum antibiotic your innate immune system creates. And we actually have the HTPs in our peptide matrix. And so when you think about that, it can kill fungi, bacteria, and HDPs, go look it up. Host defense peptides can kill viruses all day long. This is what they are created to do in our innate immune system. So again, we're building our immune system also along with the peptide intake. So again, it all aspects from brain function, but of course, yes, we're going to go back to an immune system. And you and I discussed that so many people that kind of hid in the house and we couldn't go out and you had to wear masks. And, I'm in the gym every night and I'm doing bodybuilding. I teach lighter weight, more reps, better results. But again, you have to be building your immune system at the same time. So how do we do this? Well, first of all, we get out there, number one. Number two, let's make sure that we're intaking HDPs, host defense peptides. And I hope everybody, even go ask your Alexa or your Siri, hey, tell me about a host defense peptide, and it's going to spit out everything I just told you right there. They just don't want you to know about it.
Yeah. Well, here's what they don't want to know. There's 2 big words that I'd love for people to research. It's called the default mode network. It's a part of your brain that doesn't require, it operates like a computer. Remember when we were kids, they told us in science class, if we stubbed our toe, it went up all these wires and into our brain, and that's how we felt the pain.
Right.
That's actually not even true. That's only a small part of it. We actually have an electrical body where when we stub our toe, it actually emails, texts, and tweets our brain and says, hey, I'm in trouble down here. So without this neuroimmune function, this default mode network that's ticking all the time and keeping us regulated, it's keeping us in a good place and regulated, we don't have anything. And that's what COVID and that's what these long-term issues have disrupted, the ability to self-regulate. And what happens, I believe, when you take an all-natural peptide, not a synthetic peptide, a foundational peptide, it resets the neuroimmune function of the brain. So now the brain and the immune system are talking to each other and they start to regulate and you start to rebuild. And a lot of us haven't done that for years, to be honest. That was the great.
No, and here's the thing. Yeah, the peptides are very fast acting and highly effective in pets. Everyone, please excuse me. I was out playing with my 11-year-old a while ago and I got allergies, but ABC News did a study on what we were doing because so many people were talking about it, what we were doing with pets. And ABC News came out and said we created the fountain of youth for animals. So again, it's so within 4 days, these older dogs are running and playing and jumping. And that's called the other section is, so we do have an animal division called The Gift for Life. So if you go thegiftforlife.com, you can actually see what's going on there. And of course, our 5 stars on Amazon speak for itself. So dogs don't know placebo effect. They only know that we just gave them a human grade chewable treat because I'm not making anything for my dogs or my cats. That's not purely the best I can do human grade. So animals within 4 days, even though they've been spayed and neutered, we're able to kickstart their adrenal cortex through penocytosis and we're able to get them to start producing small amounts of these life-giving hormones, but even the small amounts are turning them back on again. So within 4 days, we've got dogs and cats that are up and running. And now I've been contacted by thoroughbreds, rodeo horses, and hunter jumper classes. And so I've been working with their horses too, with amazing.
I think there ought to be a worthy comment here. That's how peptides got started. They started in Australia, literally, I mean, in a big way, because one of the, I think it was King of Dubai, wanted his camels to be racing a whole lot better. So he donated 100 million for peptide research. And then out of that came, and then out of that came the elite athlete studies. And then out of that started coming, hey, it's something for everybody. And the problem with access has been that they're trying to regulate this yet again, because you start to see medicines like Ozempic and things like that. They're technically peptides, but they've been isolated. They're not the whole peptide. So you get this isolated peptide to help.
Right. I'd rather take the full.
Yeah. It's the difference between taking an aspirin and white willow bark. So it's a different kind. In white willow bark, you get 65 painkillers. If you take an aspirin, you only get the derivative of the white willow bark, this one little piece.
Right.
So when you have a full spectrum
also,
peptide,
so I wrote the book Peptides Are Life, and I wrote it in a way that everyone could understand it. But if you read my book also, you find out it was the Russians back in the 70s who started working with peptides because their military was breaking down so quickly because of smoking and health habits and drinking and stuff. They needed to keep these pilots in these planes. So they came up and started using peptides. Now, when the Russians used to kick our rear ends in the Olympics, and they said they're using steroids, but they really never track on what they were doing. They weren't. They were doing peptides.
Right.
So, and a lot of people don't understand how that actually happened. So again, the peptides stop, slow down, or reverse the side effects of aging and disease. Mm-hmm. And this is just a fact. So, like I said, 20 years.
Now that I'm going to be 70 this year, all of a sudden people are coming saying, we really have to study about this anti-aging thing. But it's really not about anti-aging. It's about really maintaining a healthy brain. Almost everything in the world right now is a challenge to the brain, anywhere from 5G to infections to dirty air. It doesn't matter.
Every cell in your brain has a peptide.
Yeah. Now here's the really cool part about all that. It rebuilds mitochondria. All these words that we've been looking at for years. And tell them about the lock and key part. You didn't get to that. I want to hear the lock and key part.
It's very simple to think about. So if peptides are in every cell in the body, what we call it is a lock and key mechanism to actually unlock and reverse health issues and actually increase longevity issues. Because if the hormones aren't being produced, and hormones are long distance signaling that can signal cells or other organs to produce other hormones. So this is why we must be in homeostasis at optimal levels. And of course, the word homeostasis just means balanced. I don't know why we don't just say balanced. I'm not that pretentious. Anyway, so that is the lock and key mechanism to anti-aging and reversing anti-aging. But what I tell people, I laugh about it. I say, find me the oldest dog you can and give this peptide, or oldest cat, and give this peptide and watch what happens in just 4 days. 4 days. And it's pretty amazing. So if you think that is going to happen with a dog or a cat, think what it's going to do for you. I mean, look what it's done for me. Tonight, as soon as I get done, I'm heading to the gym and I'll be doing 1,000 reps for fun. You've already been working out today. And Michael, you started doing longer and longer walks and getting stronger and stronger when you started living the peptide life also, along with the other light therapy that you were doing.
Walking about a mile a day.
Yeah, the peptides gave you a turbocharge.
With assistance. I don't walk without wheels, but I am walking a mile a day.
And I will say
here tonight walked in here tonight without a cane. So,
and I'll say that my dogs do love the peptide. I have a 14-year-old Chihuahua who wasn't walking a week ago. We started him on pretty heavy on the liver peptide, and he's doing fantastic. Like, he's not doing stairs, but at least he's walking.
Well, he's not doing stairs yet.
Yeah.
So we do have the Canine Prime, and of course I take it personally. Michael, I know you take it, and other people too. So beef liver, we have our own liver that's harvested just for us and dried and ground up just for us. American beef liver, no hormones, grass fed. And of course, liver is the most nutrient dense product in the world. and then we add the peptides to it. And you want to talk about getting an energy boost and feeling great, and all those nutrients are flowing through your blood. And we're finally getting the body what it needs through the nutrients and also through the peptides. The two work together, and peptides help your body assimilate food and other products faster. Even if it's drugs, it'll help that. So this is why with an insulin health issue like type 1 or pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetes, we're working with people, and within 3 weeks, they're not qualified to be classified as a type 2 diabetic. Not making a medical claim. I'm just saying this is what's happening. We're putting their videos and what they're doing out there.
Let's make a second not medical claim. There's a second part to this that I just absolutely love, that I think it's the unsung hero. That was IGF-1 that you were talking about. There's another part to it called IGF-2 that cannot be made synthetically. You can never inject it. You can't take it by a pill,
No.
But it is one of the great natural anti-cancerous prevention material.
Well, yeah, and nobody ever talks about IGF-2 because they can't create it. Well, we actually have it naturally occurring. And if you read about peptides, peptides fight against cancer and tumorous cell. Not making a claim, it's just research. It's there. So every day, you say, well, Crockett, so I'm fighting and I'm working to keep my body free of cancer every day because I know my peptides that I'm taking fight against cancer and tumorous cells. So I've never had any kind of health issues or anything from that. Did get skin cancer right up here in my scalp when I was younger. I was a surfer in Fort Lauderdale, and I got my first skin cancer there and was always worried about things going on. Of course, I've never had, since I started taking the peptides, I've had no issues at all. That even cleared any skin issues that I had because this peptide has TNF-A and TNF-A and B, which are skin growth factors. So again, you need the full spectrum of the foundational peptide, and then watch what happens to you. But again, now this peptide only stays in the system for 8 to 12 hours. So to stay in balance, homeostasis, you take one in the morning, and guess what, everyone? You can take it on an empty stomach because it's 100% natural. And you take another one about 4 or 5 o'clock. Or if you're having health issues, you could take anywhere between 3 to 6 a day. More peptides doesn't mean better peptides. It's just, we need to know what you're dealing with at this time.
Let me tell you why synthetic peptides don't work as well. Natural peptides are amino acids that are a chain. They make
short chain amino acids.
Chains. Yeah. And so many of the synthetics are like 47 links in the chain. Most natural peptides are 11, 12, 15, or 17 links in the chain. When the body sees 17, it's okay with it. When it sees 41 or 50 or cerebrolysin, which was 141 links in the chain, you have about 45 minutes before your body comes out and says, I'm sending an enzyme to break this party up. It doesn't.
Absolutely.
Because it's not natural, it is synthetic. So what I love about natural peptide and natural peptide strategies is that it keeps the body from rejecting the treatment. So
no, it absolutely absorbs it and works. And again, this is why it only stays in the system, because the body's absolutely using it. And,
so why don't you come back and ask me the question and say, Mike, you have these 60, 70 people listening tonight. Why don't you say, Mike, what do you think it's going to do for them? Something like that. So just ask me a question here. I dare you.
Well, you are the smartest guy in the room, brother. So
I am the smartest guy in the room.
So, I mean, you have discussed so many times living the peptide life. So, I guess in conclusion, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to all of our listeners? These other healers are out there. And
here's
so
what it means. They get a new chance at regenerating the basic signals of life.
Absolutely.
The old German homeopathics call it, the body has adopted to a non-response. It just can't respond to all the new stimuli, the new toxins, the new, just all of it. It's having a problem understanding what the signals are. And so
right.
When you come, you start to reset those signals. The body, what happens to a peptide, it unwinds and produces it's like a little diamond when it comes in digested, and then it breaks apart in this almost atomic energy reset. And so it gives
it really does. That's where the peptide bonds come in.
It's restarting a lawnmower. And sometimes there's some false starts and some, fits. And like starting a lawnmower, you know how it is. Sometimes it doesn't really start right away. So you have to pull the cord 2 or 3 times. But that's what happens. We get to restart the neuroimmune self-regulatory. We need to defend ourselves. We need to oxygenate ourselves. And we need to detox ourselves. And that's the process that has to happen. And that's what we're losing slowly with all the assaults that we're going through in life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But it all leads back to a single peptide per cell.
Yep.
Communicate
Well,
through a peptide bond.
and the reason we start here is because I'm really excited about all the red light. This is actually something that we've created with Advanced Light Systems. It's pretty exciting in the sense that all these things also have color and light to them down deep in the cell. So we have a wearable LED that goes, I've got one on my wrist right now. That's how I manage my pain right now. I use NAD, I use peptides. Last night I used 6 peptides and a cream of NAD. I used the red light. I put it right here because the red light enhances mitochondria. So basically the peptides feed the cell, and the light, and especially a red light at a 660 light wave, restarts the mitochondria because that's how energy is produced inside the cell. So it helps. It helps all the oxidation. It helps. The ROS, which is called a ROS. It helps produce energy in the cell. But if you don't have food inside the cell, if you don't have the activator, that's why these things go together. Red light therapy, peptide therapy, NAD therapy, methylene blue therapy, they all have to be activated. And that's what we're missing. We're being crushed daily by 5G technology, by bad foods, by bad water, by bad, for God's sake, medicine. I shouldn't have said that out loud, but I did. So
no, it's like a great pressure on our shoulders. Hey, Michael, we should talk about also everyone, Michael's always thinking about people and blessing people. So he has to create an affiliate program that we're setting up right now. And you also are going to get the book and a lot of other information. And it's very, very simple to do. If you and we'll make sure, I think we can send this out in an email. We'll do a video on it too. info@genostem.com. Then you can get in the affiliate program. And like I said, we're all healers here. And we need to start the peptide life and that peptide wave across this nation, across the world, not only in our lives, but in our fur family's life also. And get people to understand, start living the peptide life and watch what happens. Watch what happens, guys. That and the light therapy, everything that you're doing. I mean, a longer, healthier life is what we say. That is the peptide life.
Well, let's start to bring this to a close. Aaron, do you can offer questions if people
Well, we
want
do
to
have one question. It's
Okay.
Can peptides be used during dialysis, and what are the exceptions for peptides?
For dialysis, absolutely. As a matter of fact, you need that during dialysis. Remember, it's going to support the kidney function. So, and it's also going to support blood production. So yeah, remember, peptides have 0 side effects. So you have no issues at all. It's also going to help you with natural energy. So yeah, we have worked with people in the past with that. So don't give it a second thought at all. Just take one in the morning, take one in the afternoon. And because working with Michael now, we've taken the magnesium stearate out of the GenoStem Pro, and we're now using rice flour, which Michael, I thought that was a brilliant idea from you. Thank you. And pure peptides. So so again, yeah, to answer your question, absolutely. Don't give it a second thought. And watch how you feel. Watch what happens.
Right now, I'm using peptides in 2 cases of glioblastoma. I'm along with curcumin and blue light therapy. I don't know if you can see this blue light that we created for that. Let me see if I can find it myself.
Would you recommend one of your peptides? Which product would you recommend starting with? Or
that's a good question. That's a good question. Why don't you handle that really nicely, Lawrence?
Well, it all depends on body mass. If you're 175 pounds and below, and you're not having any health issues, then I would say use GenoStem GS6. That has 100 milligrams of the hexatide peptide in there. If you're over 175 pounds, or if you are working out, and training, and you want that faster recovery. That's why the SEALs are taking it, because they're always beat up. But then I would take GenoStem Pro. And again, depending on the health issue, you can take between 2 to 3 a day, one in the morning, one at lunch, and one in the evening. Or the usual doses is just one in the morning and one in the late afternoon or early evening. And so that's how I answer that. It's all about body mass. I mean, let's think that we're working with thoroughbred horses right now, and they're getting 300 milligrams to 600 milligrams. So again, it's all body mass.
And what is there any age where kids can start taking it?
Well, as a matter of fact, my 11-year-old right now is taking peptides, and I've worked with kids all the way that are younger, because remember, we created something called GenoStem HDP, host defense peptides, and I made it in a chewable form with natural cherry flavor, with zinc and vitamin C. So no, you can start any age with peptides.
And especially if all of you are going through the COVID fears, there's a couple things you need to know about that. If you keep your vitamin D level high, you keep your peptide levels high. Under the current situation, there's hardly any way to take on a lot of COVID or a long haul COVID. So there are things you can be doing from NAC to peptides to vitamin Ds that will enhance your immune response. And so
those host defense peptides
and the host defense peptides, which are relatively inexpensive, I think. So.
Oh yeah, those are, I think, $39 are chewable. But of course, you get HDPs and all the other growth factors and peptides and the other products too. We just made this so adults could take it, but also children could take it, and they need to take it twice a day. When they go to school, let's make sure we're putting that peptide bond around them. And when they come home, let's make sure that we're boosting that peptide bond again with their HDPs in their bodies. So again, I made it a natural cherry flavor.
Okay, Aaron, next question.
Do you think it can help with retina eye issues?
Retina eye issues?
Yes, that's.
Well, it's a complex story. We don't want to give medical advice, but I think.
Well, I can only tell you what's.
Go ahead.
I can only tell you what's going on with me right now. So you see these? Can you see these little glasses right here? So, and we have this on record, and we're going to be putting the record up. IGF-1 is amazing for eye function. And my eye doctor, I'm going in every year now, and I'm having to change my prescription. But my prescription isn't getting worse. My eyes are actually getting better. And they're just shaking their head. And I said, well, the only thing I do is peptides. My urologist said, Lorson, what else are you doing? Peptides. My general practitioner, I see every 3 years. What's going on with you? You haven't changed. I went, I'm just doing peptides. So yes, for eyes, peptides, I can only tell you what's going on with me. If it works for me, why wouldn't it work for you too?
Next question, Aaron.
How do you guys think that peptides can help with memory issues and age-related?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What?
How can peptides help us with our age-related memory issues?
Oh,
like the brain fog. Talk about
let me do that one, Larson.
Yeah, NGS. Yeah.
I think the most important thing right now, again, is the idea that the brain is starving. There is inflammation in the brain.
Yeah.
Why do you see this word called plaque? Why do you see the words? Because it's all just inflammation. And so a lot of times as a functional medicine practitioner, that starts in the gut. But age-related brain issues are inflammatory in nature. So when you use host defense peptide or a peptide, what you're doing is trying to ameliorate that. We are also using things like carnitine, carnosine, curcumin to reduce it. That is where detox is important. But feeding the brain. When we did Nothing But Autism, there were 2 books that said children with starving brains. And so basically what happened, the essential nutrients that the brain needs to survive, that's what happens. The brain is not in survival mode anymore. Yeah, you need to literally peptide it up or pep it up a little bit so it'll decide to be in survival mode. And so.
Well, and that's where we get that foundational.
Yeah.
That's
So-
where we get that foundational peptide, foundational supplement. We don't really where you are until you start using the peptides. And let's see where you are in 60 days or 90 days. You're going to start getting results before then. Trust me.
Yeah. And let's give them the words. It has neurotrophic factors. And those are the
Absolutely.
knitting needles for memory and for function and connectivity.
Yes.
The word
Yes.
here, we don't have to get really fancy. I've got a lot of fancy words and I love to use them, but it's the brain needs to stay connected. What we saw in autism, the upper parts of the brain were not connected to the lower parts of the brain. That's impulsivity. In post-traumatic stress, we see the back of the brain not connected to the front of the brain. So we see flat affect, post-traumatic. I don't have feelings. I only have fears. So we don't get the brain connected. When you put in fibroblastic growth factors or brain-derived neurotrophic factors, you start to get the connectivity. So, okay.
And yeah, Michael, that's perfect.
Well, now that we got our brains covered, how about like age-related body issues like knees and shoulders and tennis elbow and all that fun stuff?
Okay, this is my section. As your trainer,
I'll let you do that one.
Yeah, and as your biomechanics trainer and also as your peptide guru, let me tell you something. It's the peptides, guys. Connective tissue growth factors are absolutely awesome. So this is going to help strengthen your ligaments and your joints, help improve bone density. And you're going to start watching joint pain just go out the door. Now, remember, I'm about to turn 64, and tonight for fun, I'm going to go up there and do 1,000 reps on a full body routine. I do that 5 or 6 times a week. So yes, absolutely. A lot of people are playing pickleball now. They've been reaching out to me, go, Crockett, I go, take it. Next thing you know, they're having a great time. They're recovering so much faster because it all comes back to recovery anyway. So yeah, take your peptides and watch what happens. Plus your natural energy, lean muscle mass, joint pain starts going out the window. Your brain function makes you sharper. And so this is why, I'm working out with guys that are 25 or 26 years old, and they're shaking their head at me going, dude, how do you do this? Well, of course, I've trained this way for years. But also, if I didn't have these peptides flowing through my body, I probably wouldn't be the same athlete I am right now. So again, you have to think about this. I want you to think about this. And I want everybody to start getting this idea and understanding what's going on here. If peptides can increase your lifespan between 10 to 30%, if you can stop, slow down, or reverse the aging effects with peptides, then really how old are you? Am I really 63, almost 64, or am I really 44? Am I 48? Am I 52? Am I 59, or am I really 63? People look at me and they see me in the gym and just out and about, and they go, dude, there's no way. But again, remember, these peptides have been in my blood for 20 years. It's going to do the same thing for you. There's nothing special about me other than I've just been on. How
long do you think recovery is feasible for most people? Is it 3 months? Do you start seeing things in 2 months or 3 months, or how do you see it?
Most people start seeing things within 2 weeks. Even with pets that have joint pain and other issues, and glucosamine and all this stuff, throw it out the door. Try the Gift for Life on an older pet and let them be your teacher. Remember, dogs have no placebo effect. But within 4 days, you're going to start running and playing and having a good time again. So the same.
Aaron, didn't that actually happen with Nacho? Did it not?
Yes, Nacho is doing much better. I put him on the liver powder. He was falling over while he was peeing, and now he is chasing our 70-pound dog across the yard.
It's a terrible thing to see a 10-pound Chihuahua fall over. It's a terrible thing to see.
And he's getting stronger because of the IGF. He's got the joint and the arthritis being taken care of because of the CTGFs, the FGF.
I had to hide the liver peptide from him. I have to put it out of their reach because my big dog will grab it off the countertop, take the top off, and eat the whole thing in one sitting.
It's not the first time it's happened, because dogs, and they have the DNA. Every dog out there, even Nacho, has the DNA of a wolf. And this is why we have the wolf actually on our label, is because that it has all the nutrients, and these dogs know it, and they just crave it, and that instinct comes on them and they go for it. But of course, the other thing, they're getting 60 milligrams of peptides. I take it personally, and Mike, I think you do too, and everyone else. A few of us other ones are taking it too. And
I put it down in my shake every morning.
Yeah, and those nutrients are flowing through your body, and all of a sudden you're going, man, I just feel great, and your body reacts so quickly to those nutrient-dense liver. Again, American peptides, American. Everything we do here is American. And I want people to understand a little secret out there too. I've been manufacturing now for 20 years. And you see a lot of supplements out there that say made in America. Well, here's the deal. They can buy bulk in China and other countries. And as long as they bottle right here in America, they can say made in America. So again, that's not with us. Everything we do is right here in America. We've been doing this for 20 years in peptide technologies. And so I don't know. ABC News says we're the fountain of youth for pets. Okay, I'll take that. As long as we can save a life and change a life today, I'm happy with that.
Well, a lot of people don't know, I was also involved in the Santa Anita where the horses were falling over. We gave them a thymosin peptide and we nebulized it. And they were dying. 35 horses died, and I helped with something called a Zyto to understand what was going on when the blood tests weren't telling them that. Aaron, there's one more question. Go ahead.
Well, can we talk about horses, Aaron? Can we talk about horses one more second? I want you to talk about a horse that we worked with, 100 jumper grand champion. Name is Kim Hall. You can look her up. She's a 100 jumper grand champion. She was an Olympic judge. And they contacted me, and they had a horse that was hit by lightning. He ran into a tree and he went down. They couldn't get him up. And they came to me and they said, Lorson, the vet wants to put him down. We can't get him to stand back up again. I said, well, I need some time. And this vet, this Aggie vet, shot his mouth off to me and says, I don't care what kind of hocus pocus you think you're going to do. I'm going to put the horse down. I said, can you give me 5 days working with this horse with peptides? He goes, that's fine, but he's got bed sores and he won't stand up. I said, okay. I'm sending it out there to you, start administering 3 times a day. And in 2.5 days, that horse stood up where they couldn't get him to stand up with drugs. He stood up with peptides. He got his strength back and off he went. And you can contact Kim Hall, 100 jumper grand champion in California. And you can ask her all day long what the peptides done for her, and also hood health. Their hoofs are splitting. They put the brace, they couldn't do it, but the peptides heal from within. And so we're helping these horses so much. So you can't fake this stuff, guys. I'm sorry. What's our next question? I just want to share that because I'm so
that was
passionate.
great.
Well, my next question is like, so people like say we're the chronic, like we're sick and we need to recover. What is generally your dosing? Because like what peptides stay in the system for about 8 hours, correct? And so you need to titrate
8 to 12 hours.
Yeah. So is it like
it really depends on. Well, guys, what can I say? I take it. I train so hard. I actually take 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. And I've done it for a long time because I really, really, really push it. I don't know how not to do that. So again, I've been taking 4 a day for a long time because of the routines that I do. So if you are sick, remember to take your peptides. I can't tell you how many times people have gotten sick. And they said, well, I just stopped taking them while I was sick. I went, oh my gosh. That's when you need them more than ever. I was up there taking a Pilates class, a private class in a room, and the instructor had COVID. And she called me, she says, Lorson, I feel so badly. I went, why? She goes, well, I have COVID. I really don't feel good. And so I went and got tested. Now, I don't know if I tested positive or not. The test said I tested positive. So I stayed away from people for 5 days. So what I did was swim 50 laps a day, walk my big dog mats, and ran every day. I had 0 symptoms. So again, you need to be boosting your innate immune system with the HDPs. And that's what it's all about, to getting over colds and other viruses and things like that. Again, not making a medical claim. It's just a fact what host defense peptides do. You can't get around it.
The best offense is a good defense.
Go ahead, Aaron.
A good offense is a good defense. Your best offense is your good defense.
That's what your dad said.
So you have to build that foundation.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you don't want to be caught
whether it's
with your immune system.
Well, exactly. Or the immune system, or total recovery to meet the next day. Or if I want to be fighting cancer ahead of time before it's ever in my system, because peptides fight against tumor cells and cancer. So again, my blood work is 5 by 5. Every time I go in there, the doctor just shakes her head and goes, get out of my office. I can't prescribe you anything. And I just laugh. So anyway, that's what I would do. Keep boosting your peptides. Remember, you need those HTPs and you need those other growth factors to make sure your body's still firing on all 8 cylinders.
Do you want to tell
one
people?
More question, Aaron Payne.
You want to tell people how? You want to tell people the best way to how we can buy these things? How can our patients get to these peptides? How can let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's real simple. So, and I hope you email us at info at Genostem, and Genostem is GENOSTEM. STIM. And I know we're going to send out an email about this. And we get you guys on the affiliate program because you're going to get 10% off. And it's also a way of helping you economically. We want to make sure that everyone does this. Look, we could be selling these peptides for a lot more, but I have a Franciscan background, and my deal is I wake up every day and say, Lord, who do we get to work with today? And then I finally got to meet the smartest guy in the room, and we're changing lives now all over the place. So you can go to genostim.com, GENOSTIM.com, or for your pets, you can still go to Genostim, or if you want more information, go to thegiftforlife.com, THEGIFTFORLIFE.com. And you can learn more about the pets and what's actually going on. And you can actually see a diagram of the pet's body, a cat or a dog, and you can see the whole endocrine system, what these peptides are actually working, what the growth factors do. So I'm very visual when I'm learning. And I don't know if anybody else is, but that might give you more information.
Yeah, that's great. And do you guys want to talk a little bit more about how this affiliate program works and how they can partner with us and get the peptides out there to the rest?
The affiliate program. I'm gonna let your dad talk about this, because the affiliate program is all about your dad. He's the one who came up with this, so we could take care of more people, and people can get involved, and other healers can help this information get out and create other healers, and we can create this. So, Michael, I'll take it from here.
Okay, so I went to Lawrenceston, and I said, this product needs to get to this level of the level of need that we have in our community. It needs to come up a little bit, and this guy went out and said, okay, I'll make 1,000 bottles of a pure peptide formula with rice flour and a vegetable cap that nobody should be using.
Never been done before.
Yeah, never been done before. Then we started talking about maybe even a new one or two things where we combine thymus or peptides or liver and peptides or any. So we started talking about really ancient nutrition kind of ideas. Okay, so that
Right.
said, we decided that Aaron, you and I have never been that aggressive about our pricing and stuff like that. So Lawrence said, I can afford this if you'll go out and help me with this idea. And we have a certain percentage that we can work for. And so we made, he also offered to have one of his computer guys put together a program called an affiliate program.
A custom program just for you. Yeah.
Just for us and nobody else. And because I'm not necessarily an internet guy, I still think Instagram is something I put in my chocolate milk in 1959. This sharp group of people put together something called an affiliate program, and that gives you 10% off, but you also get extra money when other people in your family buy it. So as a group,
everybody gets to make money.
So it's not a network marketing. It is not a network marketing at all. It's one level. Just share it. Get your money off. Get some.
It's a help start program.
It's a what?
Help start program.
Yeah.
Helping yourself, getting discounts, but also starting other people in the peptide life. And you know what? When you start using the peptides, they're going to go, what's going on with you? Your energy level is going to change. Your hair's going to grow like crazy. Lady, your nails get hard as rocks. And why we did this?
Go ahead. So why we did this is that we think it's foundational. We're getting ready over the next 6 weeks to discuss 6 more foundational ideas. We want everybody to come back for those. We hope we entertained you a little bit. The idea is that we want you to share it. We want you to have some abundance or money off or affordable. I really think peptides need to be affordable. The way we were doing it with International Peptide Society and those groups, we were talking about a couple $1,000s a month sometimes. That's just not affordable.
Who can do that?
So what we want is a low entry point that we can get 80% of the heavy lifting done. So I thought it was a good idea. It made me better. It made life better. And I'm watching it around me. It doesn't affect everybody. Out of all the most disappointing part of my 20 years in this business is that I only get the most difficult cases, but they never get any hope until they come here. And I'm usually the last guy they check with. And so It's always difficult. So we still got 30, 40, 50% of people better but not everybody's going to get better. But if you take the 90-day challenge, I wanted to make it affordable for you. And if you could share it with other people, you can watch them. We all need to gather together because we're going to have rugged immunity, a clear mind, and a resilient spirit for this next round of whatever happens in COVID or whatever happens. We're in a weakened state. We need to rebuild. So,
and Michael, remember, God gave us the tools. It's all right there. All you have to do is use them. And I wanted to say this too in the affiliate program is that, you know, I wrote the book, and right now on Amazon, we got 5 stars. But if you join the affiliate program, then you're actually going to get an electronic. We're going to send it right out to you. So you're going to have a copy of this, which is going to give you a total complete foundation of what the Peptide Life is, what's the history of peptides, what this one will do. And you're going to become an expert in what's going on with the peptides.
And they can share it with other people. Plus, you're doing about 10 informational videos that go along with the affiliate program.
Oh my, yeah, the information.
You're going to basically train them in
list.
peptides and get them to understand how to use them at the very basic level.
Right. So we have a top 10 and we have a top 20 list, because sometimes I can't cover it in a top 10. And this goes with also with us, and also goes, and you guys know my passion as a Franciscan, or when I left, I still wear our rings, but and I'm still blessed, but also our pet family is so important.
Yeah. So what I want to say is I thank you very much. We've had a great time putting this together over the last 2 months. You really stuck your neck out there and spent thousands and thousands of dollars to build the affiliate program, did the same thing. You put money into cleaning up the formulation so that my group of people can take it. And so it's a clean formula.
Absolutely.
Approved by me. I've looked at it every step of the way. If you want to more personal, you know, one of the things that we didn't talk a lot about is Aaron and Mike Payne actually did the most Zytos of any over the last 15 years of anybody in the world. Now, what a Zyto is a galvanic response testing device that helps us understand your personal needs. We're not taking everybody a lot, except Aaron. You know, I like to work with people who have the most difficult cases. You know, again, but if you need to personalize your medicine process, we still have the Zyto conference consulting practice going on. But I want you to have something in your hand to rebuild every cell in your body. Our first tagline is living well today, rebuilding health one cell at a time. Where we've grown in 50 years, it's now living well today, where self-care is primary. We want you to be empowered for self-care. We don't want you to be confused about internet scams and confusions. We want to rebuild it one cell at a time, but self-care is primary because not enough people care about enough people. So,
right.
Hey, Aaron, I see.
That's a good point. We are taking appointments again. So just give us a call to book. We just give us a call and we'll set you up an appointment. I also wanted to point out that if you visit our website, there's a link that will take you right to Lawrenceton's website. You just click on peptides and it takes you right to his store, his online, to his website. So they're right there ready for you to go. And is there anything else?
If you could send out the info, also make sure everybody has the info. If they want to get involved in the affiliate program and want my book, all you got to send us back your email information, and I'm going to let you handle this. But we're standing by, ready to create other healers across the world.
Thank everybody again. I cannot tell you how humble Aaron and I are for all the things that you.
Yeah, it's really great to be back with everybody, and we're really thankful for all the support over our tough few years. And we're just excited to be back in the saddle working again, and can't wait to hear from you guys, and can't wait to start living well today again.
Again and again. We're in the third half of life. Let's go do it right.
I'm ready.
All right, everybody, have a good night, and we will be looking for the email, and I'll also send out, we've recorded this, so I'll post this, and then we'll send it out again so you can listen to it. So thanks again, and we look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Night.
Thank you.